Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And how's it, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is a lovely view again from my front door. It's a gorgeous summer day. And I thought I would shake things up a bit. I'm just in the mood to do a chatty little voiceover. And I know some people like to do their videos all the same, but I just like to go with whatever my mood is. So today is going to be a total and complete voiceover. Inshallah, God willing, I hope you like it. And what I'm going to share is our version of Kabsah. Kabsah is the national dish for Saudi Arabia, and my husband is from there. And so we make this often, very often. It's really good, and there are many, many different ways you can go about making it, but this is just the way we did it in today's video. But feel free to adapt it to however you like to cook. It's what I would liken it to. Maybe some people are familiar with it, would be paella or something of that nature, because the rice gets cooked in with the beautiful sauce from the chicken in this case, because we are making chicken kebsah, so I hope you'll enjoy it, and let me know if you try it. So without further ado, let's get started and jump right in. Okay, so as always, the ingredients will be listed below, both in Arabic and in English. And we are making chicken kebsah, as I said. And you can see I have about 4 pounds or so of chicken thighs, bone and skin on, just for flavor. That is 3 cups of basmati rice. And then here are all the vegetables. I have diced everything and shredded it. We have dried lemon. Of course, those are whole. Carrots, hot peppers, mini red and green peppers, garlic, onions, mushrooms, and more garlic whole. And then just a variety of spice. Bahor. You can take any kind of spice pack, though, that you like. Feel free. And in here I have a hot pan, and to that I'm adding a little bit more olive oil. We like to cook with olive oil, that's our preference. And then make sure the pan is very hot. And then my husband's adding the chicken in to the hot pan. So essentially what you want to do is brown your meat first, so it develops a nice flavor. And you can do this dish with fish, with lamb, whatever meat that you prefer. But in today's rendition, we're doing it with chicken. During Ramadan, we used lamb. We made lamb kebsah. So, but lamb is my favorite, but I tend to try to stay away from red meat as much as possible. But you know, I don't not eat it. I mean, I don't not eat it. You know. And to that, we're adding salt and pepper and some red pepperoncino, red chili flakes. You can go about this in a couple of different ways. You can add onion and garlic to the pan and saute that first and then add the chicken. But in this rendition, in today's video, we have the chicken first in the pan. And we're just trying to mix it up a little bit so the spices get evenly distributed. We like to season our food as we go along, so it's not just in one foul swoop, if you will. But you cook as you like. And then of the baharat, or your spices, we have a house spice. There's the pepperoncino. So if you don't have that, it's just a mix of spices that we like, that we prefer. You can buy spice packs in any Middle Eastern Arabic grocery store. They sell them. The biryani spice pack, mutton biryani. That's a really good one that I like to use a lot. Or you can just make up your own. With coriander, with cumin, with bay leaves, just a whole myriad of spices. Kasbara, which is coriander. Really good one. Kale, cloves, whatever. Just as you like. So now I'm adding up the I'm adding to the pan the diced onions. And as you can see, I did take out some of the chicken to make some space. So that's how we're doing it. And I have not only a ginger and a garlic paste, but I also have fresh whole ginger that I've cut up. And so we'll add just all the vegetables to the pan. And we did use my mini Cuisinart to dice those carrots. But you can add whatever flavors. We tend to use onions, garlic, carrots always, and hot peppers always. But if you have leftovers that you want to use up, like in this case, I see my mushrooms, there they are. We are adding in diced mushrooms as well because I had that to use up in my kitchen, in my refrigerator. So, and I add all the juices because it has, all the nutrients in it. But just add what you like. I definitely add filfil, which are hot peppers. The small green hot peppers, I love those. But I also had one of those mini cans of pickled, if you will, hot peppers. And now I'm adding some of the baharat spices. In your case, if you don't have baharat, you can just use a curry packet of spice. You can use the mutton biryani spices that they have readily available. They have tons and tons of spices. So just whatever your taste buds prefer, right? And I always do my rice like this. I always have an extra 3 cups of rice on the side, and I'll make white rice. So it's 3 cups of rice, 6 cups of water, and then you add salt and olive oil to it. Sometimes I'll add the broken vermicelli that you find in the Arabic markets. And in this case, I did not. And so those are a total of 3 cups separate that we're cooking separately in this pot. And I just put the lid on to boil the bottled water because it's just quicker. So, and then we'll add it to the Kabsah when everything is all done, and it'll come together nicely. So now we like everything hot. Not fire hot, but these are fire roasted diced tomatoes. I use this when I make corn dip, so I had that on hand, which is also delicious. And but you can use fresh tomatoes, Roma. I tend to go for Roma tomatoes when I make this. And so just bring it all up to heat, and then add the rest of the chicken back in, basically. So that's what we've done. And I think, yeah, it's only like 6 pieces of chicken thighs that we used for this. And then it'll be a total of 6 cups of rice. So we're just covering that over and going to let it, cook a little more. And I have not added all the spices in as of yet. They're then you add the water to it. So basically you brown your meat, and then you want to boil it so the chicken cooks completely. Okay, and then this is where, well, I do believe add the dried lemon once it comes up to a boil, I guess, because that's my husband's hand there. And then we add the rest of the spices in. Okay, that way, because you're essentially adding water to it, right? So you want more flavor in it. And then as it boils, okay, there's the dried lemon. We wash the dried lemon, and then we poke a hole in it. And then, as you can see, my husband's showing you there. And then we add 3 of those in. Like if we weren't using a mix, then I would add whole bay leaves. But the other spice, baharat, that we had on hand, that already had broken bay leaves in it. And you can also put that into a tea ball, the spices, in case it bothers you to have to discard that when you're eating. But in any event, that's how we did it. And now we are adding the other 3 remaining cups of rice. Now, sometimes this is the very tricky part, because you have to get your water and your rice ratio correct. And like I said, it's for 3 cups of rice. This is basmati rice. It's 6 cups of water, right? So that's a little bit more water or liquid than I prefer. And you'll see the result at the end. So in this case, I would have added 3.5. And that's my husband adding it in. I'll just blame him. But anyway, I'm just joking. Anyway, what I would normally do is I would remove all of the chicken or meat from my pan, okay? And you see how fluffy this white rice, this basmati rice is here. You'll see it. But I would totally remove all the meat, and then I would measure out my liquid to 6 cups. And maybe a touch more because of the vegetables that are in there. But here is the finished rice. And what we also did, because you're going to see in a second here, when he adds the white rice and then the Kabsah into a different pan, because we're going to mix it all together, it's a little bit too wet. So what we did, which is not shown in the video, is we just let it sit with the lid off, that pan on the left there, the Kabsah, and then it became more fluffy. Because when you'll see him put it into this blue bowl, it has too much fluid in it still. So what we did in order to mediate that is we just left the lid off the pan and the heat on very low, and then it fluffed right up. And you're going to see the final finished product. So after this stage, we let it continue cooking. So as you can see, it's way more fluffy here after we mixed it. And there is the final product. So you can see the difference there and how fluffy it is. So that is the remedy for that, because that's a difficulty for quite a few people. In making rice, the liquid to rice ratio is what gives most people trouble perfecting their rice. So it took me a long time to master rice making, and my husband is not a cook. He just humors me by helping me. So yeah. But I mean, it turned out beautifully. So in order to not have to guess the rice to water ratio, essentially, when it's like that in a dish like that, you can just take all the meat out. You can even strain your vegetables, and then what you can do is just measure out 3 cups of rice and 6 cups of that cooking liquid, and then add it back in and all the vegetables and all the meat, and then it'll cook just fine. But he didn't want to do it that way, so in order to mediate and remedy the fact that the rice was too moist, because no one wants soggy rice, we just, like I said, let it sit with the lid off and on a low heat until it was completely dry, and then we fluffed it up as we mixed the two together. But I always mix the two together. Generally, we'll make 6 cups of rice and I'll do it in 2 pots, and it just turns out really beautifully like that. But if I'm making a different dish, like teriyaki chicken or something like that, which is my specialty, then I would go ahead and use a rice cooker. But that's sticky rice. I only use the rice cooker when I make sticky rice, because it's just, why not? It's so easy. But for everything else, I do it by hand, if you will, and I do it in a pot on the stove. So anyway, that was one rendition of how we make Kabsah. And like I said, you can use any type of meat that you prefer. I recommend the bones in the meat because the gelatin in the bones, essentially you are making bone broth, and that has many health benefits. So that is how and why we do that. Then we just remove and discard these at the end. Okay guys, that's everything, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you try this dish out and what kind of meat you use and how your rice was fluffy. I would love to know if you care to share, inshallah. And I wish you all a very beautiful day.